And hey, we're really excited to have you here today. Today's really an opportunity to get you cross-figured. For a lot of you, you're probably thinking about what I do the season ahead or in season at the moment regarding our financial software. This is really an opportunity to introduce Figured, how it works with Xero, and particularly how we're supporting farmers get across alongside your accounting professions. So we'll talk more about that shortly. If you've got any questions at all during the webinar for the next half hour, feel free to go to the chat and feel free to put some questions in there, and we'll try and answer those as we go through the webinar. We're looking at a 30-minute schedule today for the webinar, so keeping it nice and tight. And then an overview of today, what we'll be doing is we'll be talking about the expectations from farmers now and in the future regarding their software. We'll talk about how we work with Xero. Andy's going to give a fantastic demonstration of the software, how it relates to you. We'll touch on some common questions that we get from a number of our farmers. And we'll talk about how to get started on Figured and Xero. And also a subsequent offer to make that migration process nice and easy. So where we're coming from is, and what we're seeing talking to farmers and accountants and bankers is that typically the financial information that farmers have had has often been out of date. Bookkeeping often takes forever. The bank is always on the back. And what we mean by that is that they're always asking for different levels of reports. Doing budgets and planning is often a manual process, and reporting is often being linked to cash. So with Figured and Xero, we're really looking at ways of really transforming how farmers work on their farm, but also within their business or their farm. What we're really passionate about is helping you make decisions in real time and utilizing the data and the information that sits in the platform that's connected up to a bank feed or a supplier feed like PGG, Wrightsons or Farmlands. We want to make the bookkeeping task one click. Okay, so it's really easy to just crank through that and get on the stuff that matters for you guys. At the back end of that, giving bankers the information that they need, so they don't have to hound you regularly for different types of reports. The budgeting and planning process within a software should be pretty intuitive, and it should leverage the information that's already in there. So we're big on that. And the other big thing we're big on is looking at profitability alongside cash. We believe that profitability is going to be ever more important as we start to see more of those financial implications of the environmental piece, alongside a number of other key things emerging over the next sort of 12 to 24 months. Next slide there, Andy. So with Xero, we're all about working really well and really integrated together. How Xero sort of operates is that they have an ecosystem that promotes best in breed software. And it's a single source of the truth. Okay, so bank feeds are connected up to, Xero's connected up to your bank feeds where you get that real time actual information coming into. Now, Xero's ecosystem, what it's about the Xero cash book, or giving you the ability to be able to code off transactions and do GST. Outside of that, they have different software that integrates with Xero to build out what you need for your business. So I've got a mate that's a tradie up in Auckland. He uses Tradeify, which helps him send out services and jobs to his clients, but it integrates with Xero to do the cash book and his business side of things for GST purposes. So for farming, what Xero do is it integrates with Figured, and what we do is we pretty much put production and quantity on top of the actuals that come from Xero. What Xero does, it integrates directly from your bank feeds and suppliers such as Farmlands and PGG, and transactions are reconciled with one click and automatically posted as a GST return. So as I mentioned before, we're adding quantities and production on Figured to that, and we're also giving you the ability to be able to build out a budget and a forecast, track the performance of that against actuals, and also look at scenario planning up to 10 years for helping you build out farm strategic planning. So we're sort of match made in heaven, and we work better together. So what you could expect from Figured is it's a one-off setup. Okay, so really easy to be able to do that, and working with the accountant alongside that. You'll typically look to use Figured to build out an annual plan or an annual budget once a year. you'll be looking to reconcile actuals in Xero daily or weekly, and then be looking to review and reforecast on a weekly and monthly quarterly basis. So I like this slide because it sort of demonstrates what you can expect in terms of the workflow and your engagement with Xero and Figured for your farming business. And what we might try and do, Andy, is maybe just send this out to the attendees so they've got a bit more perspective following this call, which might be quite useful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand it over to my my awesome colleague Andy. He's going to run you through a demo as it relates to you, and certainly we'll cover off a few sort of questions and a little bit more about the migration support following that.
Awesome, cheers, Lakes. I'll slide over. Awesome. So I'll touch on a couple of things on the Xero side first, and then move over to Figured. So on Xero, you'll have automatic bank transactions importing to Xero each day. So Xero will have a go at coding those transactions for you based on rules you can get set up in Xero. Then you'll go through and reconcile the transactions by clicking OK. So I'll just head into my bank account now. And you can see it, they're popping up, and you can just come through, click OK for reconciliation. So you can also reconcile from your mobile app or at the end of the week or month to handle transactions in bulk as well. Cash coding is a pretty cool feature within Xero as well. So you can quickly reconcile bank statement lines relating to cash payments by creating spend and receive money transactions. So statement lines are displayed in the spreadsheet format, so it's easy to sort and code similar transactions. So you can simply filter on payee, and then I can just select all the central city parking, add in the account which you'd like it coded to, and then save and reconcile out. Bank rules are also easily set up. You'd simply head into manage account and bank rules. So bank rules save you manually creating a new transaction each time you get a recurring or similar type of bank statement line. So you tell Xero how these statement lines should be coded so that Xero can suggest the right type of transaction and complete some of the details for you. So you can easily reconcile transactions and file your GST directly from Xero. So I'll move over to Figured now. And when you first come into Figured, you'll be taken to the dashboard of the farm. So here you can see how you're tracking against your plan on each of these graphs. So if I just move over into the trackers, so under operations trackers on the left-hand nav bar is where the trackers are. So these are the home of your production. So on this test farm, I've got a milk tracker, a beef cattle tracker, a dairy cattle tracker, and a sheep tracker set up. So you can set up as many trackers as you like, and you're not limited to just these tracker types. Under create a new tracker, there are a number of further options available. So the livestock trackers all function the same. They just have different stock class names. So just whatever your operation is, you can go ahead and just set up those trackers relevant to your operation. I'll head into a sheep tracker now. So Figured has set stock classes, and you enable these within tracker settings. You can quickly import transactions from Xero with the click of a button as well. Just making sure you're in this detailed view. You'd see this little orange triangle. Now that's just telling you that there's some transactions in Xero that aren't yet in Figured, and they haven't added the production or the quantity to them. So if you click sale, down the bottom here, you'll see this import from Xero button. If you click that, that's going to bring each transaction line through from Xero for your sales MAUs account. So livestock transactions can also be raised from within the trackers and posted through to Xero for reconciliation. So there are two workflows with livestock. You just find what works best for yourself and the rest of the farming team. So to get next year's plan in place, a quick way to make the start on that is to use our export and import tools within the livestock tracker. So you can simply export out 1 year's actuals and import these in as forecast transactions for the next year's plan. So just under tools, you could click export out all your actuals for the 2021 year. You'd download the file, You could come into the 2022 year. So you'd change that in the global date selector at the top of the screen. And under tools, import, you could import all of last year's actuals in as forecast transactions into the 2022 year. Now that's a really quick way of getting a lot of data into the next year's plan within the trackers, and then you can go ahead and reforecast. So what you're expecting to happen in the 2022 year, but just make some adjustments from the year just been. So you can add also forecast transactions in on a monthly basis. So this is a really quick way of building out a plan. Sorry, I'll just change this over to 2022. So if you go into the 2022 year, you can click in to purchases, for example, and then you can go and add in at a monthly level. So you'd be entering in your quantity, average weight, dollar amounts. You can go per kg, per head in total, and that'll be creating forecast monthly transactions for these stock classes. Now within each of the livestock trackers, you can also view transactions. So you can see all of your livestock transactions and filter down to transaction types and stock types as well, and easily edit transactions within here. So here we could, if we just wanted to see all purchases, for example, and for a particular stock class as well. So here's a milk tracker. This one's set to Fonterra, but within Figured, we basically have all the milk supply companies on there available to you to select on milk tracker setup. So when you come into the milk tracker, the milk price is already automatically set by us. When each of these companies update their milk price, we update that within our system, and then you can simply come in to the milk tracker and click reset to latest milk price. That'll update the company milk price, and that'll also update your forecast amounts as well. If you're with Fonterra, you can also link up the feed from Farm Source, and each month the production will automatically import into the milk tracker for you. So that'll be coming into here automatically. Otherwise, you can just manually key this into the production column. And depending on your farming operation, within the milk tracker, you can set this up as a share milker, a contract milker, an owner with either a share or contract milker as well. The milk tracker can also automatically calculate your forecast levies for you as well. So all production transactions are handled within the trackers, and these will pull through to the planning grid, which we'll take a look at now. So just on the left-hand nav bar again, we've got planning here. All these transactions sitting in the planning grid are pulling through from Xero. So you can actually click these values in the planning grid, and that'll take you through to Xero and give you a breakdown of the transactions which make up that monthly total. So we can see here for animal health other in August, I've clicked that value, and that's going to open up this report in Xero to give you a breakdown of the transactions making up that monthly total. So in here as well, we can see under sheep, we've got all these transactions sitting here as well. So these are all handled within the trackers, and they pull through to the planning grid as well. If we head into the 2022 year, you can, we've got some pretty cool tools. So you can use the import last year's actuals. So under tools and import, you can import last year's actuals in as forecast transactions into this year's or next year's plan. You can then go ahead and reforecast based on those actuals as well. So it's a really quick way of getting a bunch of data into your next year, similar to how it works in the livestock trackers, and then going ahead and reforecasting. So for animal health other, we spent 3,000 last year. You could click into this field here, and then you could spread a value. So let's say we're actually thinking we're going to spend 4,000 this year. You've got the option to spread that monthly, bi-monthly, quarterly, or by the curve. If you're to spread that by the curve, it'll distribute the value, so 4,000 proportionate to your actuals or a snapshot from the previous period. So if we select actuals from 2021, that's going to spread that $4,000. So you can see a lump sum in September and some smallest expenditure in January and February. Under tools, we've also got so overdraft settings. So you can set up, we've got an automatic interest on overdraft calculator. So that'll automatically calculate that based on your closing cash forecast position. You can also just click in, add values directly into the planning grid as well. Once you're happy with your next year's plan, you'd go ahead and take what we call a snapshot. So this is like a budget. This is going to take a snap of your farm at a point in time. And then you can go back, and throughout the year, you'll be comparing your actuals and your forecast against what your plan was. So your snapshot or budget. You can call it whatever you like. You'd select your actuals. You can give it a detailed description as well. And where those sit is just under planning and snapshots. And there's no limitation on the number of snapshots you can take as well. So as you're reforecasting throughout the year, highly encourage you to keep in there, reforecast, take new snapshot once you've made some changes. So on the left-hand side, we've got reports as well. So within our reports tab, we've got financial reports, some production reports, tracker reports, and your year-end trading statements as well. You can save any of these reports to Figured and add comments to them and share these with the rest of the team. I've opened up a profit and loss report here. Now, under each of the reports, you've got some additional options. You can choose your period, so the year that you're running. So this farm season runs from 1st of July to 30th of June. So you can change that here. If you want to view a month, or if you want to view some custom date ranges, you can do that as well. So you're not just limited to the year. You can view actuals or a combination of actuals and forecasts, or if you just want to view your snapshots within here as well. You can also view actuals plus forecast against one of your snapshots, which we'll view shortly, on a cash and accrual view for a profit and loss, and you can view it a monthly or annually level. If I click show quantities and run the report, this is going to pull through the quantities as well from the trackers. So you can see here for July 2020, for sales beef R1 bulls, we sold 35 for this total figure here. The same for milk as well, that will be pulling through. You can see all the quantities down below. Here I've got a cash flow report. So similar functionality to the P&L, whereas you can choose actuals and forecasts or actuals and snapshots. You can also compare actuals and forecasts against your plan. So that's what I'm doing here. So now down below on the white lines, this is our actuals and our forecasts, or a full year actuals, depending on what we've got our actuals date set to. And the blue lines are what we originally had planned against at the start of the season. So here we can see we'd planned for $39,000 worth of beef R1 bull sales in August, but we've had $41,130 worth. And here's the variance report as well. On the variance report, you've got a bunch of options under additional options. Now down below, I've just selected actuals plus forecast full year versus snapshot. And whenever you select one of the options for snapshot, you'll be able to select which snapshot you're comparing it to. You can also show quantities, variance percentage, snapshot remaining as well. So there's plenty of other options. And if we scroll down below, we can see here. So we've had sales beef R1 bulls. There's that $41,000. We'd planned for $39,000. So we had a positive variance. This runs all the way down through to milk tracker, other income, and all your expenses as well, along with showing your variance percentage, anything remaining, and percentage spent. You can also select multiple options on the left-hand side here and add those to the report as well. In terms of saving the report, it's really easy. Under Share Report, Save Report. Now this is going to be saving the report to Figured, and that'll be sitting under the Reports tab here on the right-hand side under your Saved Report section. Now you can easily go in and add any comments as well. Just click into any area, add a comment. And then you can share this out to anyone in the farming team or just add in their email address. So if they're an invited user, you can write in their name, otherwise add in the email address. You can add in a note to their email as well. And that will get this PDF document will be sent out as a report as well, along with the note here and down the bottom of the report. you'll see your comment as well. For the production report as well. So the production report allows you to assess the productivity of your farm, right down to each single income and expense item. So again, under additional options, you can view what you want. You can add the options which you'd like to view below. You can also compare with previous periods as well. But in this example, I'm just viewing the 2021 year for a full year of actuals, as I've got actuals to August. And you can base things on, so kilograms of milk, so dollars per kilogram of milk solid, which you'll see below, dollars per hectare, dollars per stock unit, and dollars per cow. I'm just going to head into our scenarios tool. So Figured Scenarios tool lets you plan and analyze different outcomes for your farming operation across multiple years. So the whole farming team can view and access these scenarios to make more informed decisions. So you can build out 5-year scenarios, for example. So you can build a plan 1 to 10 years and it's on an annual view. So as an example, if nothing changed on farm in the next 5 years, how are you looking financially? You can then also easily copy a scenario and then look at some what if situations. So can we afford to purchase that new tractor next year or buy the neighboring farm? You'd add those into the proposition. You can add loans based off those assets as well. So it's a really cool tool to go in, build out a plan. So if nothing changes over these 5 years, copy that and then start adding in some what if situations. Scenarios also have indicators, so graphs that provide further visibility around various parts of your scenario's financial position as well. Cool, and that's the demo. I'll just pass it back over to Lates now.
Thanks for that, Andy. That was a fantastic overview. I appreciate that, Andy. And what we really wanted to try and achieve there was just to show you through the that integration and how we work with Xero, and more specifically get to the good stuff of producing meaningful reporting to you guys, and what you want to do on farm and working with your wider farming team. Just quickly as we sort of move towards the end of our catch up today, some common questions that we often get from farmers might be quite helpful for you, for those that are attending the webinar today. So the first one is, what's the cost of Xero and Figured versus other options? You know, most options typically sort of start roughly around about $75 plus just per month. Xero and Figured combined starts from $66 plus just per month. And what we tend to say with this is work with your accountant to figure out a package that suits you and your requirements, i.e. what you need on farm. And often that will determine the type of products you need and what that price would be. Can I get training on Xero and Figured? Yes, you can. What we do is we work with your accounting partners, or your accountant, to you know, help them support you. So feel free to connect with them, and certainly we'll be in touch with them to figure out something that will work with everybody regarding getting you confident about the software and getting the best from it. The unique difference between Xero and Figured and another option, I think the most important thing is around going back to the initial slide I showed you. You know, accurate, reliable, real-time data. And, you know, we're so passionate about that. We believe that that's super important to help you make an informed decision on farm. And more importantly, you know, we're reporting both on a cash and profit perspective. So, you know, cash is still king, but profitability is becoming even more important. And making that bookkeeping super quick. We don't want you spending hours and hours doing bookkeeping and GST. We believe that process should be real simple, and Xero experience is, you know, just a part of that process to make that super streamlined for you. Figured's booked for accountants. No, we're booked by 2 sheep and beef farmers, and they expressed a need, you know, not only to be able to report on a profit level, but also, you know, they found that, you know, working with Xero and using Xero for their bookkeeping was a really good way to do it. So bringing the Figured piece into that was a no-brainer for them, and to develop that. And then does Figured support all farming types and sizes? Yes, this is really important because we understand that every farm's not different, whether it's different operations, different types of trackers, different sizes and different ownership levels. So we've built a platform that provides flexibility around that, recognizing that every farm is completely different. I just see, Andy, that we've just got a question here. Sweet. So just a couple of people just saying that they just need to master themselves on the software, which is fantastic. And then Roger's just said he's got an arable operation in Canterbury. How much detail has Figure got with these types of business in terms of trackers? Roger, to answer your question, we can go keep it high level, or we can go very granular down to a seed by seed level and paddock level. So it really depends on what sort of information you need for your reporting purposes, and certainly would be more than happy to sort of walk you through that process off this webinar if that should be something of interest. What about horticulture, Steph? Yes, we do. And again, it's a bit like Roger. What we can do is just talk to your needs and what you require for your operation, and then figure out the best approach for your business also. So yes, sheep and beef and dairy certainly, but certainly viticulture and horticulture and arable we also support.
Yeah, I'll just touch on that as well. If you do have any specific questions around the type of operation that yourselves or your clients have, please just reach out through the green bubble, and we're happy to support you. That's just on the Figured website, or if you're within Figured, just send us a message through there as well.
Yeah, always keen to just chew the fat about it, guys. I think the key thing is, make sure that you feel comfortable about the products you've got and support. So just feel free to reach out, and we'll definitely come up with a bit of a plan on how we can make that work. Cool, mate. So if you just want to click on, Andy. Nice one. So getting started, if you're not already on Figured and Xero, you have a chat to your accountant about switching. What we're doing is we're working with your accountant to reduce that switching cost. So just trying to mitigate that as much as possible. And what we'll do is we'll get set up by working with your accountant. Let's get you set up by working with your accountant or a certified Figured advisor. So if your accountant needs some help getting you set up, what we'll do is we'll connect with them and figure out a plan just to get that ball rolling and get you set up as soon as possible. And then from a training perspective, we or your accountant can ensure you're well supported with training. We've got it in the help center there, the support with help articles. On YouTube under our Figured channel, we've got a whole bunch of support material there. And then also we've got different enablement onboarding partners that we can refer you to if required. And certainly if your accountant's capable enough, they can certainly support you with that process. And have you got anything else to offer, buddy, around that?
I'll just slide over. So if you're within Figured, just hit the question mark and you can send us a message here. So the team are really quick to respond, so do that. In terms of the help center, you can search keywords here. And then if you don't find what you're looking for, it can link you through. You can also get to that through the question mark down here and help center. And all of our articles are grouped up into categories. So you can go through and have a look through that. If you don't find what you're looking for within 5 minutes, let's say, flick us a message. We're happy to pass that on and help you out.
Yeah, fantastic. No, thanks for that, Andy. That's great. And certainly, follow those channels, and we're more than happy to have a bit of a chat to you about what you guys want to do. But hey, look, it's coming up to 11:30. Really conscious of and I appreciate everyone's time today. We'll leave it here, but certainly do connect with us should you require any help or you want to learn a little bit more about what we're up to with Xero. We've certainly enjoyed ourselves. We love spreading the word about Figured and what we're up to at the moment. So have a great day, and don't be a stranger. If you do have any questions, feel free to reach out at any time. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Great session. Again, to Late's point, also, if you're an accountant, we've got a Figured certification as well. So if you need a link to that, you can get that through the help center, or just send us a message and we can send you a link as well. Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your week.
All right. Take care, guys. Thank you. Cheers. Bye.